I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood, the kind where lawns are freshly mowed, mailboxes look identical, and everyone waves at each other during morning walks. Well, everyone except one man, my neighbor, 2 doors down. It all started over something stupid. His dog, a big, untrained golden retriever, kept slipping out and wandering into my backyard. One day, my dog, a territorial German shepherd named Duke, finally snapped. Before it turned ugly, I managed to pull Duke back, but the retriever had a couple of small bite wounds. Nothing serious, but enough to send my neighbor into full attack mode. That evening, he came storming up my driveway, shouting like I'd personally declared war on his family. "Neighbor, you're paying the vet bill, or I'm suing you." Me, "Your dog was in my yard, off-leash. I'm not responsible." Neighbor, "See you in court." I actually tried to be reasonable. I offered to pay half, just to keep the peace, even though I knew I didn't owe him a dime. But he refused. He wanted a fight. So we went to small claims court. And in 3 minutes flat, the judge dismissed his case. The judge literally said, if your dog wasn't trespassing, it wouldn't have been bitten. Case dismissed. You'd think that'd be the end of it, right? Oh no. That was just the beginning. From that day on, he made it his personal mission to make my life miserable. Every trash day, every single one, my garbage cans would mysteriously be tipped over. If he drove by while I was mowing the lawn, he'd lay on the horn, flip me off, or shout insults out the window. It was childish. But when it's constant, it eats at you. Then he crossed a line. My 10-year-old son, Ethan, was riding a mini-bike with a few neighborhood kids. Guess who called the police, but only on my son? That's right. Mr. Petty himself. The other kids? He said nothing to them. I remember that night. Ethan sat at the dinner table, quiet, scared. He didn't understand why the neighbor hated us so much. And honestly, I didn't either. We finally got tired of wondering what he'd do next. My wife and I went to the police station and filed a restraining order. A week later, we got a letter from his lawyer. He agreed to have no contact with us for 2 years. Things went quiet. No honking. No flipped cans. No police calls. For the first time in months, it felt peaceful again. But, deep down, I wasn't satisfied. He'd made my family's life hell. And he just got to walk away like nothing happened? I wanted justice, but not with fists or courts. No, I wanted something smarter. Something perfect. Weeks later, I was walking through the local hardware store when something caught my eye. Japanese beetle traps. If you've never seen them, they're simple. A plastic bag with a scent pack that attracts beetles. They fly in, and can't fly out. But here's the fun part, they also sell refill packs. Just the scent, no bag. That's when my mind started racing. Because I remembered something about my neighbor. His front yard. His pride and joy. A massive rose garden, rows of perfect red, pink, and white roses. He'd spend hours pruning them, watering them, bragging about them to anyone who'd listen. And Japanese beetles? They love roses. So I bought 4 refill packs. Just in case. That night, I froze the wax scent packs. They pop out easier when they're cold. At 3 a.m., under the cover of darkness, I quietly slipped out of my house. The air was still, the streets silent. I crept to his yard, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. Every crunch of gravel felt deafening. I gently lifted the mulch under his rose bushes and slid the wax squares in, one by one. Then I covered them back up, brushed the mulch flat, and walked home, grinning in the moonlight. No vandalism. No property damage. Nothing illegal. Just nature, encouraged in the right direction. The next day was scorching hot, over 90 degrees Fahrenheit by mid-morning. Perfect. By 11 a.m., I noticed something. Tiny glints of metallic green floating near his yard. Japanese beetles. Lots of them. That evening, I went for a casual bike ride. His rose garden was alive, not with color, but with wings. Hundreds of beetles were swarming the blooms, chewing through petals like a buffet. The next morning, it was a cloud. Thousands of beetles. You could see them from the street, hovering, devouring. And there he was, outside with spray bottles, garden gloves, and fury in his eyes. Neighbor, yelling at his wife, "I don't understand. I sprayed yesterday. Why are there more?" I just waved as I biked by, smiling politely. By day 3, the roses were shredded. By day 4, nothing was left but thorny stalks and despair. The man's masterpiece, destroyed by nature's tiniest army. And I didn't have to lift a finger. That night, I stood at my window, watching him rake up the remains. And I laughed. Quietly. Not the loud, villainous kind, just the soft, relieved laugh of a man who finally got closure. I never told anyone. Not even my wife. Some secrets are better left buried, under a little mulch. Now, a few years later, his rose garden has recovered. It's beautiful again, and he's been the quietest, most polite neighbor ever since. Maybe he learned his lesson. Maybe he's just afraid of karma. Either way, I sleep like a baby. 4 days. That's all it took. 4 days for thousands of beetles to turn his precious roses into skeletons. He wanted to mess with me for years, and in the end, Mother Nature took my side. You know, revenge doesn't always need to be loud or violent. Sometimes, the sweetest kind of justice is the one that looks like coincidence. Because when karma blooms, it's unstoppable. If this story made you smile or gave you that he deserved it feeling, hit that like button. Comment below, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? And don't forget to subscribe for more real-life revenge stories that prove karma always finds a way.